What is up, everybody? Man, do we have a live stream for you tonight? Great Friday night before Nebraska takes on Ohio State. So we're going to be previewing that matchup. But not only that, I got some big recruiting nuggets for you guys, some prospects who will be coming on campus, some transfers we are after, and a lot more, along with some inside bits some people I've been talking to over the last couple of days. We're going to talk about some injury updates and so much more. So big live stream. Hope everybody's having a good Friday night. I know I am. And let's just dive into it, everybody. Let me know how you're doing in the comment section. We'll get to your comments as the live stream progresses. But I want to start off talking a little bit about recruiting, what's been going on recently with Nebraska. Obviously, we got this big time commitment last Sunday and a 4-star tackle coming in from Kansas. That was huge for the Huskers. And I think a lot of people, they didn't talk about it as much as they should. Everybody always says, oh, Nebraska needs to recruit the pipeline. They need to recruit the offensive, defensive lineman. That's the only thing that matters. And then when we do get a really talented player, they're not talking about it. That was a big-time pickup. The guy we got in from Kansas, Juju Marks, 4-star according to Rivals.com. But the big talking point recently has been how Dawson Merritt's doing. Of course, I feel like I've been talking about this guy for the last 10, 20 weeks in a row. But again, to update you guys around Dawson Merritt, I still feel good about where he stands with Nebraska. Just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. He's focused on right now his playoffs. But Matt Rhule visited him a couple weeks ago on his game. So I wanted to update you guys about that. But again, don't expect to flip anytime soon. And I know a lot of people were saying, oh, it's over. The fact that we lost to Indiana, it's over. We're not going to get Dawson Merritt. That's not true because you guys forget the fact that Alabama also lost last week. Okay, you forget the fact that a bunch of other teams like Michigan lost last week, USC lost last week, Texas lost last week. So we weren't the only team that lost. We weren't the only team that looked bad. So one loss isn't going to screw over recruiting. So I wanted to branch out and talk a little bit about the fan base because a lot of parents have commented on my videos over the last couple of days, or they've reached out to me on social media, and they've been, perplexed. They're like, what is going on with this fan base? Now, this all kind of started on Monday where a certain 5-stars parent commented on my video Monday. He said, and I quote, Nebraska has a great fan base, but I noticed they don't believe in them. Let me repeat that. A certain 5-star recruit dad, you might be able to know which 5-star this is. I'm not going to tell you which one, but you can probably tell which one it's going to be. The dad of this 5-star said, Nebraska has a great fan base, but I noticed they don't really believe in them, meaning the team. Makes you think a little bit. There's been a lot of negativity over the last week. I think the Nebraska fan base in total always is very extreme. We're either very extreme positive or we're really extreme in the negatives. And what I try to tell people, I tried to tell you guys last weekend, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry, especially coming after a loss. But try at least to be a little bit rational, during the week. And that's why I try to do. Like, I'm not happy about that Indiana loss, but I'm not, I was angry on Saturday. I was angry even on Sunday, but I let those feelings die down because at the end of the day, it's just not a good look for the program for constantly yelling at us and, yelling at the team and saying, hey, we suck. It's stupid. And recruits and their parents see that stuff. So I wanted to mention that because I just think a lot of the fan base, they've been really, really negative over the last couple of days. And, we're still 5-2. We're still a decent team. We're still one game away from bowl eligibility, and I know tomorrow's going to be a tough game and we're probably not going to win. But at the end of the day, recruits and their parents see this stuff. And I had to comment. I had to tell his dad, like, try to explain ourselves and, defend the fan base. But at the end of the day, I've heard that from some other parents over the last couple of days. I was just talking. I'm sure you guys saw my TJ Lateef video, which was posted yesterday. Did really, really well. Okay. I talked with a source close to TJ Lateef. I'm sure you can decipher who that may or may not be. Very close to his life. And first thing I'm going to tell you is that TJ Lateef is locked in with Nebraska. So that's good news, right? It's good news. He's locked in. But the second thing he was telling me was just kind of like, again, the negativity from the fan base. Like, he's hearing it too. Right. And it's affecting his son a little bit. So, I agree that the fan base shouldn't be like complacent and losing. Like, we shouldn't just sit here and watch us lose and be okay with it. Like, I agree with that. Like, we should be angry when we lose. But at the same time, again, recruits see this stuff, their parents see this stuff. So let's try to, I don't want to say be positive, but be rational. Always be rational a little bit. But talking about, TJ Lateef, again, him being locked in, right? I got on the phone last night with somebody, again, source close to him, that TJ Lateef should be signing. So that's another big recruiting update there. I wanted to let you guys know there. But again, there's a couple other guys who are current Nebraska commits who might flip elsewhere. We'll talk about them in the bye week in the coming weeks. But again, Jeremiah Jones, watch out for. Malcolm Simpson's one who might flip. That's just how recruiting is nowadays. But TJ Lateef locked down with Nebraska. I found out last night, I'm not going to give you any more smoke and mirrors. When I found out from somebody pretty close to him that he's locked down, at least for the meantime, I will tell you guys directly that he should sign with the Huskers. And again, I'm sure you guys saw that video about TJ Lateef, but people need to give him his respect because this dude is a freaking ball player. It's a freaking ball player. Dude is an absolute stud. I want to show you guys. I want to show you guys a video. I'm going to pull it up here. So TJ Lateef, and I told you guys this in my video yesterday, is a complete winner. But I feel like the fan base doesn't do him enough justice. The fan base, I think a lot of times, again, Dylan's our boy. That's all right. It's okay. It's okay that we love Dylan Rhule and we think he's going to be the guy, for the foreseeable future. But I want to show you guys this real quick. So this is something that I was sent last night about TJ Lateef. Okay. I want you guys to watch this. So this is him on offense. Of course, TJ Lateef's at quarterback. Watch this play. Handoff. The ball is getting stripped out of his hands. They're going to take it the other way. Look at TJ Lateef. He's 10 yards back. Goes and gets this tackle. That just shows you, man, his effort. So again, he's a really, really, really good player. Really, really good player. I don't know. I just think a lot of the fan base, they don't do him justice. They really don't do him justice on how good of a player he is. And again, he works super hard. Everything he does everything right. Does everything right. And when I was talking last night to this person, right, who's close to TJ Lateef, we were talking about how I believe when he gets on campus next year, he's going to give Dylan maybe a run for his money. That's how good of a player he is. So I want you guys to buy TJ Lateef stock because I truly believe he's a good ball player, man. Truly believe he's a good ball player. So a little bit about him, but I wanted you guys to see that clip because that dude just a really, really good player who honestly I hate to see the fan base just disrespect him time and time again. I get Dylan's our guy, but you can have more than one talented quarterback on your roster. You can have more than one. So wanted to mention that. Let's talk about Marcus Satterfield. Okay. So it's funny. I just talked about the fan base not overreacting and the fan base, not being negative, but we do have to have a conversation about Marcus Satterfield and what he said the other day at his press conference. I'm sure every single one of you guys has seen that at this point because it was egregious. It honestly showed his incompetence. If you did not see what Marcus Satterfield said, I will summarize it for you. A beat reporter for Nebraska asked him a question. He said, how many yards per play do you look for from this Nebraska offense? And he said, I don't know, 4, 5, is that good? You stumped me on that one. His words, not mine. Marcus Satterfield could not answer how many yards per play he wanted from this offense. Well, if you're not familiar with yards per play as a statistic, he answered 4. 4 would be the worst in college football. So that just shows you that he has absolutely no idea what he's doing. And I'm not a huge fan of yards per play as an indicative stat that really shows you how good your offense is. And I don't really look at it too much. But it's so endearing to me that our offensive coordinator, who's supposed to be an offensive mastermind, an offensive guru, he has no idea what to look for. He has no idea what a good stat is in the yards per play. Good offenses have clearly drawn out statistics and parameters that they look for every single game. It's clearly he has no idea. He has no expectations from this offense. I would almost guarantee you Marcus Satterfield does not, have an expectation for how many yards we should get per game, how many passing yards, how many rushing yards, our third down conversion rate. He doesn't even look at the stats. I almost guarantee you. Because if you don't know yards per play, what do you know? So I feel like the fan base overreacted just a little bit about it, but as they should. We should expect more from our offensive coordinator. And I was thinking about this the other night. It's almost incredible to me how Nebraska has never had a good offense coordinator over like the last half decade. It's almost unbelievable. Okay, before our boy, we had Mark Whipple. So we went Marcus Satterfield, Mark Whipple in 2022, who was a failure. We had Matt Lubick before then, who was a failure. And then after that, or before that, it was Troy Walters in the first couple years of Scott Frost. Like, it boggles the mind. It boggles the mind how we can never have a good offensive coordinator. And this one is somehow the worst of the bunch. Like, how many of you guys would rather have, Mark Whipple over this guy? Like, most of you would say yes. How many of you guys would rather have Matt Lubick than this guy? Most of you would say yes. And those guys weren't even good coordinators. So I don't get it with Marcus Satterfield, man. And I told you guys this a couple weeks ago. The fan base in general, I don't know what happened versus Indiana, but I feel like a lot of people woke up and they started to figure out things that I've been saying for a couple of weeks now. I said versus Illinois, Marcus Satterfield is not doing that much better than he did last year. People were like, no, Marcus Satterfield, so much more improved. Like, what were you guys watching? And then suddenly it all clicked versus Indiana. It's like, yeah, Marcus Satterfield needs to go. But again, he is clearly incompetent. You know what makes me mad about this? Number one, I don't know if you guys know this, we have another offensive coordinator on this staff. Okay, it's not like we have one, we have two. We have Glenn Thomas, who's a co-offensive coordinator. And he has better experience, he's a better resume than Marcus Satterfield. Give him the play calling duties, give him control of this offense. Okay, he's not really the co-offensive coordinator, it's just the quarterback's coach with an added on title. Right, Marcus Satterfield's pretty much the standalone guy, but Glenn Thomas should be that offensive coordinator. Just give him the ropes. Why not? Why not? How could it hurt anything? No, it couldn't. Okay. It boggles the mind. And it also boggles the mind how Matt Rhule continues to defend Marcus Satterfield. And I get it, because that's your guy, that's your friend. But at some point, you've got to stop defending incompetence. Because that's what it is. And that's what we saw the other day on that Wednesday press conference. In talking to recruits and their parents, a lot of times they actually really like Marcus Satterfield, and the common theme from them has been our guys need to execute. But hearing from parents of guys who are currently on the team, the parents don't like Satterfield. They think he shouldn't go. So it's an interesting dichotomy. But in reality, yeah, I think Marcus Satterfield should go because again, he's not ready for this job. Nothing was on the resume that showed you when we hired him that he should have been a good coordinator. Like, he wasn't good at South Carolina. He was previously a head coach. I bet you can guess how that turned out. He failed as a head coach. So I don't understand why we hired him. And then Matt Rhule has the audacity to come out, I think yesterday on his press conference, and he said, and I quote, Marcus Satterfield shouldn't focus on yards per play. He should focus on beating Ohio State. That's bullcrap, Matt. That's bullcrap. You shouldn't say that because, again, if he doesn't even know the basics behind offensive statistics, how can he adequately prepare for Ohio State? Does he even know what he's doing? Like, we're literally at the bare bottom right now. We don't expect anything of this guy, let alone put together a game plan that can stop one of the country's best defenses. If Marcus Satterfield doesn't even know yards per play, how can you expect him to walk into Columbus, and put up 28, 35 points against a top 5 defense? It boggles the mind. And Matt Rhule is honestly doing a lot of these kids a disservice. He's doing Dylan Raiola a disservice by having an incompetent coordinator for this long. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. And it should be most of your guys' opinion after what we saw on Wednesday. Again, I feel for guys like Dylan Raiola. And I honestly, it just feels like their career, at least 1 year or 2 years of their career is going to waste because we have a guy at the helm, at least on the offense coordinator spot, who doesn't know what he's doing. That's frustrating me, guys. That is frustrating. So, to the people who overreacted about Marcus Satterfield's comments, I'm right there with you. Okay, I'm overreacting too a little bit because that's where we're at with Marcus Satterfield, where nothing shows up. He doesn't really check any of the boxes. And when he comes out and says a comment like that, just adds another complaint to the many. So it boggles the mind how he's still employed here. I commend, if somehow we lose to UCLA, let's say we lose 3 straight, and we go into that bye week, it needs to happen. Needs to happen. Matt Rhule needs to fire Marcus Satterfield. Give your boys the best opportunity to succeed. So really, really frustrated with his comments. But you know what the funny thing? You know what the sad thing is? When he said what he said, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't even surprised. It's almost like, of course he doesn't know the basic statistics. Of course he doesn't know what a good yards per play is. I bet he doesn't even know what a good passing yards per game would be. I don't think he knows what a good red zone percentage would be. Is it safe to say that I know more about offense as a content creator than Marcus Satterfield? That feels sad to say, that an 18-year-old might know more about offensive statistics than our offensive coordinators getting paid $1 million to be there. But that might be true. That might be true. That's how stupid he is. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Again, it just frustrates me. And it frustrates me how Matt Rhule will not make a move. All right. That's my conversation about Marcus Satterfield. We'll get to your comments about Marcus Satterfield. Absolutely. I'll get to your comments in just a little bit. Want to mention something real quick. So I posted a video on Monday talking about Dylan Rhule and his injury. I feel like sometimes I have to spell it out for some people. Like I have to repeat what I said in the video in the comment section because people were commenting. They said, Wilson, if Dylan Rhule plays on Saturday, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And you clickbaited us on that Monday video. Like what were some of those people talking about? Okay. Going back to my video on Monday talking about Dylan Rhule, let's claim the facts. The facts are Dylan Rhule got injured versus Indiana. Another fact, Dylan Raiola got injured versus Illinois earlier in the year. So you can put the 2 and 2 together with a source that Dylan Raiola has been injured over the last 4 weeks. That was my report in that video. I also reported that Dylan Raiola is still injured because if you've been injured over the last 4 weeks and it's not getting better, you're still going to be injured with your right ankle injury. So I said in that video, Dylan Raiola will play. 100% chance he was going to play because the staff, they're not going to, he's able to play. Should he play? Probably not, but he's able to play. He's ready to go and he gives this team the best opportunity to win. So of course you're going to roll him out there. That was my report. Okay. That he's injured. He's going to play, but the question was, should he play? In my opinion, he shouldn't play versus Ohio State. So just want to clarify that because again, I was getting comments from people saying, Wilson, how dare you say he's not going to play? Of course he's going to play. Like I told you guys he was going to play. Some people they frustrate me at times. But yes, Dylan Raiola will play tomorrow. No question about it. Again, my video on Monday was just saying he's injured. He's going to be injured tomorrow. It's a right ankle injury. It's likely a high ankle sprain. Those do not go away quickly. Yes, he's able to play. But should he play? No, because he's clearly not playing his best brand of football. The Dylan Raiola we saw versus Colorado was here. The Dylan Raiola we saw last week versus Indiana was here. Is here. Huge drop off. So the ankle injury that he's sustained versus Illinois and that he's had since then is really hurting his game. Again, he can't step into his throws. He's throwing off his back foot. His accuracy in general has been horrific. He can't scramble. So yes, he's able to play. Yes, he can trot out there and make throws, but not at the level that he used to. So should he play? That's my question to you. But yes, he will play. Again, that was not the reason I made that video on Monday. Like, he will play. That wasn't a question. It was just a matter of should he. All right. Let's talk about tomorrow's game. Because there's a lot of pessimism going on in Husker land. And as there should be. There is pessimism because we play, the number 4 team in the country. Ohio State's really good. They're probably the best roster in general in all of college football. But I don't know if I'm the only one. And tell me if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid right now. But I'm feeling a little optimistic. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about tomorrow's matchup. And I think the only reason I feel good about it is just because of the fact that we have nothing to lose. Like, nobody's expecting something of us. We have 4 more games after this to clinch a bowl game. We have nothing to lose tomorrow. They have everything to lose. If Ohio State loses twice, they're out of the picture for the Big Ten title game. They might be out of the picture for the playoff. Then they play Penn State next week. Okay. So I don't know why, but I'm feeling pretty decent about tomorrow's game because we have nothing to lose. We're going to pull all the stops. We might see some creativity from Marcus Satterfield because he knows his job's on the line. Who knows? I don't know. I'm feeling weird about tomorrow. Just a little weird about it. Now, am I saying Nebraska wins? No. But I'm feeling a lot better than I was maybe on Monday or last Sunday. There's a couple reasons why I feel good as well. Number one, we've had success starting fast throughout the season. I mean, at least to begin the season, we've had a lot of success starting quick in ball games, scoring on our first drive. Ohio State's been the opposite. They've started slow. They started slow versus Iowa. They started slow versus Marshall. They started slow, I want to say Akron. Okay, they have started slow and not score really in the first quarter in the last couple of their games. Okay, so we've started fast. They've started slow. Interesting. So what you're telling me is that there's a possibility Nebraska starts off quick. So that's the first reason I feel good. Number two, Ohio State plays Penn State next week. They're just coming off of a bye week. Nebraska is just coming off a loss. One could argue that Ohio State is looking above this Nebraska matchup. They're looking through us, and they're already getting ready for Penn State. So they didn't adequately prepare for tomorrow's matchup. Is that true? I don't know. I think it's probably true because Ryan Day knows how big of a game Penn State is and that his job might be on the line, so he's probably preparing for them a little bit extra early. So one can make a pretty convincing argument that Ohio State, they weren't game planning as far as they should for this Nebraska game. Second reason I feel confident. So, again, our back's against the wall. They're a good team. Do not get me wrong. But there's some reason to be optimistic. And I told you guys, even if we lose tomorrow, don't even look at the score. Like, if we lose, don't look at the score. I want you guys to look at the effort. I want you guys to look at the effort tomorrow. Let's say we're down 35. Let's say it's bad. Look at the effort. Because if you see a bunch of guys giving up, then Matt Rhule clearly isn't the guy. Sorry, not sorry. If you see guys giving up tomorrow, playing bad, getting blown out, not doing anything about it, not fighting back, Matt Rhule isn't the guy. I said what I said. If you see a team that's down 28 but still fighting, still trying to score points, then that shows you a lot of positive elements. I actually think it's going to be a sneaky close game. I think it's going to be a sneaky close game. I really do. I think we're going to be in a battle. Now, it would be pretty much egregious for me to say we're going to win because I know a lot of people clip that, and then Ohio State fans would come to my comment section tomorrow and they'd say, Wilson, what are you talking about? Nebraska got blown out. So I'm not going to say we win or anything, but I just feel okay about it. This is the first time in a long time we've had nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. And we're playing on the road. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. That's all I'm going to say. You know how sweet it would be to finally beat a ranked team on the road to clinch bowl eligibility? It's almost poetic. It's almost poetic. To finally beat a ranked team, this time a top 5 team, on the road to clinch bowl eligibility against none other than the Ohio State Buckeyes. That'd be nice. Now, am I saying it happens? No. But there's just, don't give up. Don't give up. Because I'm going to tell you this. The team is not giving up. They're going to go in there tomorrow looking to win. You guys should do the exact same thing. Okay? Because if they believe, and if they're going out there in that first quarter playing to win, the fan base should look at the game and also expect to win, or at least go from that mindset. But at the exact time we lose tomorrow, let's not overreact because Ohio State's a really good team. They're a really good team. All right. It's finally time to get into the comment section and see what you guys are talking about. The point spread, I want us to check out the point spread for Nebraska. Because I saw I think 20, 25. I want to see if it is still there at 25 in this ball game. Again, if I were a betting man, I might actually throw some money down on that spread. I don't know. Yep, it is Nebraska. Ohio State by 25. I don't know. I might throw some money down on that if I were one of you guys. Not going to be me. Not going to be me, though. All right. Want to get to the super chat here. I wanted Satterfield gone last year, says Jake. Again, a lot of people did. Now, I was more inclined to defend Marcus Satterfield last year simply because of the fact that he didn't have any pieces last year. Okay, Marcus Satterfield had Hoiberg at quarterback. We clearly know now that Hoiberg is not an adequate starting quarterback in the Big Ten. He had two true freshman receivers starting in Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd. One who's not getting redshirted right now. Okay, so that tells you how good he was. So, again, Marcus Satterfield didn't have pieces last year. But he has pieces this year, and he's still as bad. So that's the frustration. He needs to go. He definitely needs to go. Scariest thing for me is the scout team. Usually players are developed there, but if Rhule says they are getting good looks in practice, then that shows you how bad our depth is. I don't agree with that, Josh. I actually think our depth is a lot better, but our talent at the top isn't as good as it should be, if that makes sense. Like, I think the ones are really close to the threes, but the talent at the top isn't really good, if that makes sense. Demote Satterfield, promote Glenn Thomas. I completely agree. Again, it's not like people are like, who's going to be the interim? Glenn Thomas is going to be the interim. He has been an offense coordinator for longer than Marcus Satterfield. He has a better resume. He was recently in the NFL. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. We need Glenn Thomas. Really do. And when I was talking, again, to TJ Lateef, a guy close to him, last night, he was glowing about Glenn Thomas. Said he loved Coach Thomas. He's a great guy. He's a great philosophy. He's doing good things with the quarterbacks. So, I don't get it. We should give HH at least 2 or 3 full drives when Dylan has as bad of a game as he's had last couple of games. It's tough. It depends on where we are in the ball game. If we're getting blown out, yeah, I think Hoiberg should get in there as quick as possible. But if we're in a close game, I just think you need to keep Dylan out there, because Dylan, at the end of the day, no matter how injured he is, he could be on one leg. He still gives you a better chance to win than Hoiberg. I truly believe that. Truly believe that. So, I don't know. But I think, again, I think Dylan needs to stay out there if we want to win. Now, in a game like tomorrow, if we were just wanted to wave the white flag, then we would sit Raiola because he's injured. It's an argument. The way Rhule leaves him in games, you think you have a broken leg to not come out? Yeah, exactly. Like I talked about Monday, Dylan Raiola is injured. If he wasn't as good as he is, he would be sitting right now. But he gives Nebraska the best chance to succeed, even though he's playing poor. That's why Matt Rhule is continuing to play him. Now, his injury is constantly getting worse, so that's not a great sign, but that's just how it is, man. Andrew says, yes, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, in reference to me feeling good about tomorrow's game. Hey, maybe. Wilson, I took Nebraska about 6 ways in the first quarter, but not the rest of it. Not sure what you mean here, Coach. I took Nebraska about 6 ways in the first quarter, but not the rest of it. Not sure. Yeah, repost that. Chris says, watching Isaiah Mosey tonight, two TDs in the first half. Yeah, I might have to talk about him in next week's video. He's a stud, man. He's having a great season, at least some north. He got demoted to a 3-star recently, too. It makes no sense. What 21st? Like the recruiting sites are so biased against Nebraska. Whenever somebody commits to us, they drop them down to a 3-star. Yet, I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a guy who was committed to North Carolina who was the 800th best player in America. He was a 3-star. He flipped to Alabama, and within 1 day of him flipping to Alabama, they promoted him to a 4-star. They moved him up 600 spots. So they're biased for some schools, and then they are pessimistic for others. It's unfair because these like Isaiah Mosey didn't get worse, yet they demoted him to a 3-star. But he's balling out, man. There's something Sack can do to win this game. He's out of his league. I agree with you. And that kills my pessimism. Really does. You're either able to play or not able to play. Dylan needs to go up against the best to be able to play, to be able to become the best. I agree, but again, he's not playing his best brand of football. How much does it really help him if he's going out there and he's injured? I agree you should play against the best, but he played against some pretty good opponents last week. I'll just give you guys an example. Okay, we're going to probably lose against Ohio State. Let's say Dylan Raiola goes out there and worsens his ankle once again, and that impacts his ball game. Then he goes out there against UCLA, and because of the fact that he injured his ankle further in tomorrow's performance, he loses UCLA. Okay, here's another example. We don't play Raiola tomorrow. His ankle gets a little bit better. He has more confidence going to UCLA, and then we win that football game when he clinches ball eligibility. So that's my question for you guys. Agree, Justin. Plus, it will help him more see the speed of true 5-star athletes. You're right. You could be right. This could be a trap game for Ohio State. I think we keep it tighter than expected, but I still think we get beat pretty handily. Not much to make me believe otherwise so far. You know what, Mitch? I agree with your reasoning because, I've said in the past, you lose games because of one or two reasons. You either lose games because you have less talent, or you lose games because you have worse coaching. This is one of the rare instances that Nebraska has a deficit in both. We have worse coaching than Ohio State, no doubt. And that's the same reason we lost to Indiana and the same reason we lost to Illinois. But for the first time this season, we have less talent too. So it's going to be hard for us to win. We're going to have to coach really, really well. I don't expect that from Matt Rhule, unfortunately, because he hasn't given me any confidence as a game planner. That's unfortunate, but we are... We're 7 games into into this year. We were 12 games last year. We're 19 games into his tenure so far, and we haven't had a big win so far. So why should I believe he's a good X's and O's head coach? I don't know. Michael says, I think we would pull Auburn versus Bama and win by luck watch. Hey, maybe. I hope so, dude. Hope so. Again, there is reason to be confident just because of the fact that I don't think Ohio State's truly preparing for this game as much as they should. My prediction is Ohio State 44-7. Oh, man. I don't like that at all. We're going to win. Oh, I hope so, man. I really do. Think before you post. A good reminder. Recruit to the parents. See the negative comments. Again, yeah, I completely agree. And again, I'm negative too. Like, I'm not perfect, right? Like, if you guys saw my videos on Saturday, people were coming at me. Wilson, you're so negative. Wilson, you were throwing a temper tantrum. I'm like, no, I was just frustrated because we lost to Indiana. We deserve to be frustrated. But at the exact same time, you don't want this to linger because recruits see that and parents see that. And it's just, at some point, you're just being negative just to be negative. Like, I was posting about Nebraska getting a 4-star commit Sunday night, and people were commenting saying, why would this idiot commit to Nebraska after a loss? Like, now is not the time and the place to be negative, guys. We just got a big time commit. So I'm only talking to a select few out there, but I just think in general, we should be positive when it's time to be positive. We can be negative when it's time to be negative. It's just about balancing those two out, and being rational throughout the week. And even yesterday's video with TJ, right? Like I posted about TJ balling out. People were like, no, he's going to flip. People are being like, I've just never seen this from the fan base. Usually the fan base is super optimistic. And now it's like, wow. I mean, we just flipped the switch, I guess. So it is interesting. Wouldn't work with Rhule's system philosophy on offense, but imagine we had Dana Holgorsen as OC. Would be scary with Dylan. Yeah, I mean, we almost did. We almost got him. We wanted him to be quarterback's coach, but he wanted more power than that, and that's completely valid. Because again, we could have had Dana Holgorsen if Matt Rhule was willing to fire Matt Rhule, or if Matt Rhule was willing to fire Mark Satterfield, and he didn't do it. Makes you think a little bit. I'm just saying, Matt Rhule's made a couple of big mistakes so far in his tenure. And they're pretty evident right now. And there's some more mistakes that he's made that we won't figure out until, after his tenure, whether hopefully that's in 20 years or it might be soon. I don't know. We'll see. Judy, I agree, but don't look at the score, but the effort improvement. Yep, exactly. If we get blown out tomorrow, don't look at the score. Look at how these guys are performing in the fourth quarter. If they still have effort, if they got their heads down low. If they got their heads down and they're pissed off and they're not playing, they're not executing at a high level, and Matt Rhule's getting these 15-yard penalties when you shouldn't be getting them, then you guys can be pessimistic. That's fine. You can be negative. But if they're going out there fighting and still driving down the field and, giving Ohio State a run for their money, then we can be a little bit happy. Does Malachi see the field at all this year? Does he transfer? I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. And I told you guys this in the past, I think he probably transfers, and that sucks because he's so freaking talented, and we saw that throughout his true freshman year. But the reason why they're redshirting Malachi right now is because he's just not good enough. He's not one of the 5 best receivers in this room. And Matt Rhule saying, okay, you can either play pity snaps at the end of games, or I'm just going to redshirt you and reevaluate you next year. That's what he's doing. But the dirty secret is this receiver room, in my opinion, is only getting better. So if Malachi's not the top 5 right now, I don't know if he's going to be top 5 next year. Let's think about our starters next year. We got Jalen Lloyd as a starter next year. We have Ja'Cory Barney as a starter next year. Isaiah Mosey, I think, is going to be in the mix to start. Janiran Bonner is going to be back. You add a guy like Demetrius Bell into the mix. And then you have a bunch of other guys who were young, like Quinn Clark, Davion Hall, Isaiah McMorris. So, again, this receiver room's only getting better. And you might even add a couple transfers in there. You might add Michael Terry. So I think, if we're being just real here, he probably leaves. It just depends on if he wants to play or not. If he wants to, trust himself, then maybe he stays. I don't know. I hope he does, though, because he's a talent, dude. He's a talent. And I don't know if we see Malachi. I don't know if we see him in these next 4 games. I doubt it, to be honest with you. I mean, we might. We'll see. I think he's just down in the rotation, to be honest. And if we do see him, it's not going to be, like good snaps, right? It'll be probably at the end of the ball game. I'm surprised that they didn't knock Raiola to a 4-star when he came into Nebraska. They actually did, Michael. I want to say on 3, knocked him down to a 4-star. That just shows you how biased those recruiting sites are. They knocked Dylan Raiola down to a 4-star when he committed to Nebraska. Wilson, the 6 ways of the first quarter are different types of bet at the casino as long as we aren't losing by 7 or more, winning day by 11:45. Not hopeful about betting the whole game. Again, I'm not attuned with all the betting terminology, so spare me there. But yeah, I would just never bet Nebraska, period, ever. Never bet for them, never bet against them because they're so unpredictable. In your video, you said that TJ was clutch. Do you think Raiola is clutch? It's tough to say. It's tough to say if Dylan's clutch. And he really hasn't gotten a real opportunity to show us except for the Illinois game. And, against Illinois, there were a lot more than him. There was a lot more than him that really just gave up. So I don't know, but we'll see in the next 5 games if he's clutch. We'll see. I don't want to say he's not clutch just yet because, again, he's still a true freshman. If Rhule refuses to make the best administrative decision when it's clearly needed, he is part of the failure. It has to go to my new bestie Hulk Hogan agrees. Yeah, Ross, you met Hulk the other day. That was pretty cool, man. I heard he was in Lincoln. He's out. I think he's campaigning, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've heard he's been going all over. But yeah, I agree a little bit. Like, again, if you can't fire somebody as a head coach and you can't get rid of the dead weight, at the end of the day, like, you're not as good of a leader as you think you are. If you can't put on your big boy pants and fire somebody who's not doing their job, how good of a boss are you? How good are you for the company or the team in this example? Again, Matt Rhule's getting paid too much money to be here to not make these type of moves. He's getting paid $7 million. Like, I have little sympathy for head coaches because they're getting paid big bucks. And if they fail, they still get their check. They still get their buyout. So I don't really have sympathy for offensive coordinators who suck or head coaches who suck. When you get hired, at least in my opinion, the expectation is for you to win immediately. Okay, you aren't getting paid $7 million a year for you to win 5 games in year 1. That's just my opinion. So I don't have sympathy for a lot of these coaches who are like, oh, it's just a process. Like, no, you're getting paid so much money to be here. You got to win now. I don't know. But again, he's got to make these decisions, and I go back to the fact that if Matt Rhule wasn't getting paid the amount of money he wouldn't be here. He wouldn't care about us. Like, he wouldn't be at Nebraska. That's just the truth. I love Matt Rhule. I think he's a good dude. But if he wasn't getting paid what he's getting paid, he wouldn't do this job for free. He wouldn't do this job for $2 million. He wouldn't do this job for probably $4 million. So I just don't have too much sympathy for coaches who beg for the process to take super long, or they make excuses, or they say, oh, we got to give this coordinator time. Like, no, you are getting paid an incredible amount of money. You are the highest paid person in the state of Nebraska. Win now by any means necessary. I don't care how it happens. Buy the best staff money can buy. Get the best players money can buy. Practice at an elite level. Recruit at an elite level. Develop at an elite level. That's the expectation at Nebraska. Doesn't matter if it's year 1 or year 50. So yeah. Brett also met Hulk Hogan. That is funny. 2 people. We see a lot of Hulk Hogan. He's just making his rounds, I guess, man. I think he's promoting a product. I think that's what's going on. If we implode and lose the rest of the games, do we lose right out of the portal? That's a really good question, and I want to address this because I've seen a lot of people commenting on this. No, Dylan Raiola, I don't think will leave at all. Like, I really do not see a scenario where Dylan Raiola transfers after this year. The reason I don't see a scenario where that happens is because, number one, his whole family moved to Nebraska. Okay. Whole family's here. Donovan, of course, is here coaching the O-line. His mom and dad are here. They moved to Lincoln. So that's number one. Number two, his sister now works for Matt Rhule as a recruiting analyst. And number three, Dayton's now committed to the Huskers. So he has ties here to this place. So I just don't think he's going to leave. I don't think so. He's tied his wagon here, man. Get rid of Sat dead weight. If quarterback's coach should do it, let him go, no problem. I agree. If no changes happen after the season, I don't know, man. I agree with you, Deion. And it's incredibly frustrating. And I feel like I hate comparing Scott Frost to Matt Rhule. I hate it because they're two completely different coaches. But at the exact same time, it's so reminiscent of Scott Frost. So reminiscent. Where Scott Frost wouldn't fire anybody. And when he did fire somebody, it was the scapegoat. Like Troy Walters was a scapegoat. Troy Walters was actually a darn good coach. And we used him as a scapegoat. Troy Walters, I don't know if you guys know this, he's in the NFL right now as a wide receivers coach for the Bengals. And he's doing a darn good job. He's developing guys like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. He's one of the best wide receiver coaches in the NFL. So Troy Walters wasn't no joke. And we fired him like a scapegoat. So I feel like I don't want that to happen again with Matt Rhule. Because I don't want, for example, us to fire Marcus Satterfield and realize that it doesn't matter who we hire, we're still not going to find success because Matt Rhule isn't the guy. Am I saying that's going to happen? No, but we had that happen with Scott Frost. Nobody can see the future. Worry if you want to, or say go regret. I agree with you, man. You just gotta be optimistic every now and then. Ohio State players gonna be talking crap to Dylan, I bet. Oh, you better believe. It's a revenge game for Dylan. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I actually didn't even think about this. Like, Dylan was committed to Ohio State for so long. He knows a lot of those boys on the team. It's a darn good point. You better believe they're going to be smack talking Dylan. They're going to try to get to him a couple of times. So Dylan's he's going to be playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Not only because he played like crap versus Indiana, but he knows some of these guys. Interesting. Coleman believes Husker red. I agree with you. I agree. I don't think he wants to leave. I just think, if it might be in his best interest, if he doesn't see a clear path to playing next year, if you are going into your third year as a wide receiver, more than any other position, if you are going into your third or fourth year as a wide receiver and you're not starting, or you're not even, a top 4, top 5 receiver on the team, you should always transfer because you're never going to play. That's the example here for Malachi. Like, Malachi would be stupid to sit on the bench as a third year player, as the 6th best receiver on the roster. Why would he do that? It's not helping his career. So, just for his sake, like I think Malachi's super talented, but it's clear that they redshirted him because he just wasn't going to get that many reps this year. He's probably not going to get reps next year because this receiver room's only getting better. Like, unless, we have a bunch of guys leave like Jalen Lloyd and Shaquari Barney. And that's not a good scenario. We shouldn't root for that. So far, offensive coordinator doesn't know anything. What's that say about Rhule? It's a good point. It doesn't say anything good about Rhule, but nobody wants to talk about it. That's like we don't want to blame Rhule because then we'll be treated like, oh, you're a negative fan, this, that, and the third, right? But again, it's terrible that Matt Rhule is allowing this incompetence. He's defending it. It's terrible. Like, I'll be honest with you. It's just terrible. He did the same thing last year. We'll get blown out and everybody knows it. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. You're probably right. Do you think Ty and Nash will get drafted? I do. I think Ty will get drafted around the 5th round, and I think Nash at this point will probably be a 6th or 7th. But I do believe they get drafted because I think they have a lot of upside. I think Ty's game translates a lot better to the NFL than what it does in college. Nash will be hard. Nash will probably, I don't know with Nash. I don't think his game translates as well to the NFL, but I do believe he'll be drafted. I'm waiting for Ty to come back. Ty cannot come back. This is his last year of eligibility. He cannot. I really like the way you do your videos, man. Great shows. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate the support. That reminds me, everybody hit the like button on the stream. It would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you're somehow watching this. If you're not subscribed. Really quick, we'll keep it going, but I will be live post-game tomorrow talking about a win talking about a loss, whatever happens. So make sure to be here tomorrow post-game. Make sure to put those post-game notifications on, or those just notifications and period on for my channel so you can be notified when I go live or when I post. Let's get back to the comment section here. Colby says, it was a red flag out of the gate when Rhule said pregame versus IU he wanted to make it ugly and survive to the fourth quarter. Yeah, I think Matt Rhule, a lot of times, he is so freaking conservative. It pisses me off. You know, he actually said in the press conference, I want to say Monday, he was talking about, like, it was early in the ball game and we went for it on fourth down, we didn't get it. And he said, no, I probably should have kicked the field goal there. What does it matter if we kicked the field goal there? It was a good call to go for it on fourth down. And yeah, we didn't get it. So what? It's better to roll the dice on a fourth down and 1 than take a field goal with a field goal kicker that sucks. And he has the audacity to come on there on Monday and say, you know, we should have kicked the field goal. Like, what? We got blown out. What does it matter if we kicked the field goal or not? We probably would have missed it anyways. So that was frustrating by Matt. I just think he's not a good game planner. I have no reason to think otherwise. You know, he has never shut up for a big game. Our best win in his tenure was against Colorado, and we didn't score a single point in the second half. I'm just like really disappointed, man. And I think I'm disappointed because we're at the end of our first 7 games, and the whole conversation throughout the offseason was, can we start off 7-0 because the schedule is so easy? And 5-2 ain't bad, don't get me wrong. And with those 2 losses being to ranked teams, and we didn't lose to scrubs or anything, but you know, there's just a lot left to be desired. And we see signs of where we're going to be. Like, we see signs that we're probably not going to be that great for the rest of the year. Satterfield's stupidity makes Matt Rhule look stupid. Exactly, right? Like, Matt Rhule's got to be the boss here. He's got to put his big boy pants on. Got to get rid of the dead weight. I don't know if he does it. Rhule, Wilson, what do you need to see tomorrow to feel some hope for the future? I want to see Dylan Raiola have a good game. I want to see Ja'Cory Barney have a good game. I want to see Carter Nelson. I want to see the young guys get in and play well. That's what I want to see. Like, these seniors, I've already seen them for so long. I don't care what Isaac Gifford does tomorrow. Like, he's a fine player. He's not great. He's fine. I don't care what John Bullock does tomorrow. He's a good player. I don't care what Ty does tomorrow. I want to see the young pieces play well tomorrow. That will give me hope for the future. I don't care if a senior plays well and we get blown out. That doesn't matter to me because they're going to be gone anyways and they contribute to winning here. You know, we've had some darn good seniors over the last couple of years, but I don't really care about them. And I don't really care about their legacy with Nebraska because they never won. They didn't contribute to winning, so why would I care how good they were? You know, like Cam Taylor-Britt was a stud. But Cam's not a Nebraska legend, you know, because he never won football games. So I say all that to say this. I care about what the young guys do because the young guys have a chance to flip the script. The old guys don't, right? Like, we're probably not going to be too successful this year. So hope that makes sense. We need Portnoy to help us out. What do you mean by that? Does Portnoy need to bet on Ohio State? The curse there? I don't know if that's a curse or anything, but you might be right. Lol, I look like Hulk Hogan at one time in my life. Haha, never met him. Yeah, man, Hulk's everywhere. Hey, might be at the game tomorrow. You never know. Never know. There might be a celebrity or two at Ohio State. What is still shocking is after the bye week, they lay down and died before the kickoff. I agree, Deion. Why do we suck after bye weeks? We have like a losing streak after bye weeks. We can't figure it out. It, again, boggles the mind. Stuff like this. You had 2 weeks to prepare for Indiana, and we were never in that ball game. You had 2 weeks. You could have scripted out the entire game if you really wanted to. There are so many questions that I'll probably never get answers to. I hope one day I could interview Matt Rhule because I would give him some hard questions. I really would. Matt Rhule might not like me if I interview him because I'd give him some really tough questions. The fan base might not like me if I do that, but you know, I would ask tough questions to get good answers. You know, I'm not gonna, if I were to interview Matt Rhule, I wouldn't, you know, ask the bull crap that a lot of content creators or beat reporters do. You know, like, what do we need to do to win this, that? Like, no, it doesn't matter. I would ask him some tough questions. I'd be like, why did you keep Marcus Satterfield for 2 years without firing him? What was the logic behind being so conservative against Wisconsin in 2023 when you could have won the game? What was the logic behind starting Jeff Sims, even though he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the history of college football as a starter? I asked some tough questions. Finish this live wearing the helmet behind you. Man, I'm not going to do that because that is a autographed helmet. That That is a very, very, that's worth some money. That's worth some money. I am not gonna wear that. Maybe the Miller South helmet. Maybe that one. That one's not worth anything. After all the coin they pumped in the university, Rhule will be let go, but not until he's had 3 to 4 years minimum. Yeah, that might be right, Judy. That really might be right. That's the thing that I hate. And I was thinking about this last night, was that we're not even going to fire Matt Rhule. Like, let's say Matt Rhule sucks. I'm not giving up on Matt Rhule. I want to make this clear. But let's say we do fire Matt Rhule in some alternate universe. We will not fire him until year 3, year 4. In my opinion, that's a lot of wasted time. I gave up on Scott Frost after his 3rd year. So to me, I wasn't even excited for Nebraska football in 2021 and 2022 because I already gave up. I gave up on Scott Frost, period. And I knew he was going to fail. So it feels like, if once I am determined that Matt Rhule's the guy or not the guy, then the rest of his tenure here will just be a bunch of wasted time because we're just waiting for him to leave. But I think Matt's the guy. I really do. I just have a positive feeling about it. I think Satterfield's a flat earther. You might be right. He really, and one thing that's interesting. Coordinators a lot of times should be leaders of men, in my opinion. They should be leaders of men. Okay, Tony White is a leader of men. I listen to a lot of his press conferences. I listen to a lot of his pregame speeches. This dude can rile up anybody. Okay, Tony White is fierce. Like, I would be hyped to play for this dude. I listen to Marcus Satterfield in his pregame speeches. This dude, can't hype me up, man. Seriously, I watch Chasing 3 and Marcus Satterfield talking. I'm like, this dude is just nonchalant, monotone. I couldn't get hyped for playing for Marcus Satterfield. I couldn't do it. So just kind of another indictment there. Malachi can perimeter block. Bubble screens might work with him out there blocking. I agree. But at the exact same time, I thought Isaiah Nair could block too. I thought Jamal Banks could block too, because that's what their tape said last year. So who said that Malachi gets out there and can't block anymore? Because again, Isaiah Nair and Jamal Banks have been good blockers in 2023, 2022. Malachi was also a good blocker in 2023. But with the way this offense is going, who says he goes out there and stinks the bed? So, and I'm not going to put a wide receiver out there just to block. I mean, Ty hasn't done squat since Mizuka was suspended. Well, that's the entire defense hasn't done anything, since then. So that's not really. I actually don't agree. I actually don't agree with that though. Ty has played well. Ty played well versus versus Purdue. I thought he had a good game. I thought he played well versus Rutgers. So I don't agree with that actually. I'm praying Chai stays with Nebraska. I bought his children's book. Yeah, it's a good book, man. I have it too. He's a good guy, man. I hope he does stay. Really do. But again, I don't really want to speculate. I don't want to speculate on it. We'll find out in about a month or so, right, when the transfer portal opens up. No blowout this week. Ohio State will save it for a Penn State. I agree. Same thinking there. My man Nick says, got to be a J-Sker tomorrow. Hey, Nick. Hope you have fun tomorrow. Creighton versus Purdue exhibition charity game. What do we got? We got Creighton winning. We got Purdue winning. I don't know. 2 Nebraska rivals. Give me the Jays. Give me the Jays. Hope you have fun, Nick. It's gonna be a fun one for you, man. I'll be in Columbus for the game. Awesome, dude. That is awesome. Go support. Be loud. Be proud. Go Big Red, my man. I think Rhule is a motivator and wants players to like him, but he's not that good of a coach. I could see it. I think he's a good developer. I really do. I think he's a good developer. I will take that to the bank. I think Matt Rhule brings the best out of players. I just don't know how good he is as a game planner, as an X's and O's head coach. I don't know. I think Matt Rhule hate is strong in here. I wouldn't say that. I just think a lot of people, are pessimistic. Pessimistic about Marcus Satterfield. Once we fire Satterfield, who would be a good hire OC besides Glenn Thomas? It's too early. It's too early to say. We have no idea who's going to be open, who's going to be fired, who's going to be gone. I don't think we're going to snatch a coordinator, so I don't know. I think it'll probably be Glenn Thomas. I really do. I think Glenn Thomas was hired last offseason with the intent of him being the offensive coordinator if anything goes south with Marcus Satterfield. I think that was the entire reason. We all came out of last season saying we wanted 7 wins for progress this year. Is that what people said? Because I don't think that's what people said. I think people said 9 wins. That's what I remember, at least. I don't know. That's still my mentality. Like I thought 9 wins would be improvement. I still think 9 wins would be improvement. I am not satisfied with 7 wins. That does not move the needle. That does not help anything. That doesn't help recruiting. That doesn't help the perception of the program. Like 7 wins is nothing. With how easy the schedule is, we can do better than that. We should have done better than that. We have good odds against UCLA, Iowa Whiskey. I think we have good odds against UCLA. That's about it. We beat Iowa one time in the last decade. We haven't beat Wisconsin in 12 years. Like I have no reason to think we have good odds against those teams. And both of them are playing better football than we are playing. Iowa just put up 40 points last week or 2 weeks ago. Wisconsin just blew out Rutgers 2 weeks ago. So if we fire Sat after the year, who do we hire to replace him? Again, I think it's going to be Glenn Thomas. I think it'll be Glenn Thomas. That was the whole reason we hired him. Yeah. Let's see. Who picked Indiana versus Washington this week? For what? For game day? That was a terrible game day pick. It's not a great slate, though. Not a great slate. Give me Indiana on that one. Easy. Washington's just not playing good football. If we win tomorrow, wear the Millard South helmet for your live. Hey, might have to, man. Might have to. I think we might win. We might surprise some people. We got nothing to lose. Wouldn't that be a Matt Rhule statement game? We're sitting here being negative about the program right now, and then tomorrow Matt Rhule will be like giving us a big FU, and he'll go out there and win it. That would be funny, man. But you better believe, like, I'm going to be talking recklessly if we win tomorrow. Like, I'm going to be so hyped up. You guys are going to want to be here post game. No matter what. Even if we lose, you're going to want to be here post game because we're going to have some real conversations. We'll keep it a buck. We have a lot to talk about if we lose. A lot to talk about. 9 wins from 4. Haha. We won 5 games last year. We won 5. Again, conservative Husker, I don't think you understand how easy the schedule is and how talented we are. Like, with how easy the schedule is, we absolutely should be in the mix to win 9 games. It's an easy schedule. We should have beat Illinois. We should beat Iowa. We should beat Wisconsin. We should beat UCLA. That's 9 right there. So. Nebraska's like the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my goodness, that's such a good. I compare them to the Cowboys all the time. We hype up our team every year and lose to winning teams. I so much agree. So much agree. Like that's our NFL equivalent. Great fan base. We hype up our team, but they don't do anything for us. Why can't we pull an OC from a lower tier school like Central Florida, BYU, Boise? I don't think we want Boise State's coordinator. Boise State's offense is bad for how good their running back is. They don't have a great offense. I wouldn't mind Central Florida's. I don't know who it is. BYU. I don't know. I just think Glenn's going to be the guy. And I'm not too mad about that. I think Glenn's a good coordinator. I really do. I liked him when we hired him. We should have hired him right off the bat. You say it's not a good slate, but that's what we said on October 5th when Vandy beat Bama. Anything's possible. It's a good point. And that's honestly, the bad slates are actually the best slates because this is when the upsets happen. There's going to be some upsets tomorrow, right? There are going to be some games tomorrow where we look back on and say, oh, that was a big upset. Like let's just look at the games. Let's look at the games for tomorrow. Because there might be an upset here or there. Like I also want to see this Boston College score. Boston College up by 10. That's huge. But like looking at the games tomorrow, it's technically a bad slate. Navy, that's a good game. We might see Washington upset Indiana. We might see Oklahoma upset Ole Miss. We might see Illinois upset Oregon, right? These are the type of weekends where crazy stuff happens. So wouldn't be shocked if we still have a lot of good football to watch tomorrow. Vanderbilt plays Texas. Hey, we've seen crazier things. So I don't know. It's not technically a great slate, but this is when the upsets happen. So I agree with that mindset right there. A clone cone. Let's see. If we had an offense, we could win 9. I agree with you, man. If we had a really good offense that utilized Dylan Raiola correctly, absolutely could win 9 games. I think I understand your logic when saying I don't care about seniors. Is it because you're not hopeful the year ends good, but it changes if they end with 2 losses because the seniors change culture? Okay. So he's referencing me saying that I care about what the young players do tomorrow because my mindset about the seniors is already set. Yeah, if the seniors could pull together and win 8 games, yeah, my mindset of them would change and they'd have a better legacy in my mind. But I don't think that's going to happen. So my mindset right now is just so focused on watching these young guys because they have an opportunity to flip the narrative. I think these senior guys have already had an opportunity to do that and they haven't done it. So that's what, that's my mindset. Hopefully we can say we have upsets ones in Columbus, but they seem to happen to us law. But they don't seem to happen to us law. Yeah, we just can't get lucky. There's some really bad teams who pull upsets every now and then. Like Purdue for the longest time. They've been terrible, but they'll get upsets against Ohio State or Iowa. Like we can never do that. We can't even get lucky a game or play like really well. Like there'll be times where a bad team will come out firing and just have a really good game. We can never do that for whatever reason. Will we ever be able to get an A-tier head coach hire? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, the last A-tier head coach hire was Scott Frost on paper. Look how that turned out. I just almost think at this point that in order to have a good coach, it's going to be the one that people expect the least of. I don't know. Give me Central Florida over BYU. Nah, man. BYU's playing good football. BYU's playing good football. I got to go with BYU there. UCF has them in the same since the first couple of weeks. Hot take. Nebraska's like Dallas and that old uncle that talks about his glory days of high school sports. Yeah, man. There are too many Nebraska fans who will try to flex on you, like especially the younger generation, right? Like I'm 18. There'll be Nebraska fans who be like, they'll say to these kids, they'll be like, you guys know nothing. I've been watching Nebraska football since I was 1 year old and it was back in the 1950s. Like, just because you've been watching Nebraska football, your entire life and you're however old, it doesn't mean you know more about the current team and the current college football than some of these other guys. Like, I think, but I agree with that. And that's probably the same for all fan bases. It's probably the same for all fan bases. Who wins, Boise or UNLV? I got UNLV in an upset. I think they're playing really good football. I like their quarterback. Again, Boise, of course, they got the best running back in all college football. But I like UNLV at home too. And I just think Boise State, their offense in general, isn't as good as it should be with the best running back. Like the passing offense sucks. I like to think Rhule thinking he had hired Glenn Thomas in contingency. I think that's exactly what happened, Ross. My biggest beef with Rhule is that he make me believe we utilize a fullback more. At least I feel confident when we get on the 1 yard line, we do bring in the I form. So I like that about him. But yeah, and that's honestly the only scenario where we should bring in the fullback. Like when it's a 4th down and 1, 3rd down and 1 in the goal line. That's when we should use I form. We should never use I form when it's 1st down and 10. That's never do that. Only when it's, you need to get yards. If not Central Florida, who's your upset pick tomorrow? Gosh, I gotta look back on the slate, my man. I gotta look back on the slate. Let me know your guys' upset picks for tomorrow. I don't want to say Indiana because I think Indiana does win. I don't want to say Illinois. First off, I do think Navy beats Notre Dame, so that's one. I don't know if that counts as an upset because it's a top 25 battle. And then after that, I mean, there's just not. It's an interesting slate. Oh, Florida State beats Miami. That'll get some responses. Florida State over Miami. I think Miami is so overrated. I cannot tell you how overrated I think they are. They have got bailed out almost every single week. So give me Florida State. I don't know. They suck. Don't get me wrong. Florida State's horrendous, but give me the Seminoles and an upset that's going to be crazy if that happens. That's my pick. Don't hold me to that, though. Don't hold me to that. Typical 18-year-old thinking the old folks know nothing. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of times the old folks are incredibly condescending. The old folks think the young kids know nothing. They'll be like, oh, this generation, you guys know nothing about football. And they'll talk about the 90s. Like, nothing that happened in 90s college football is relevant to nowadays college football. Like, it's just a completely different sport nowadays, So it's not me saying that old people don't know nothing because they do, but I think a lot of old people think they know everything and they think that young people are stupid. Like, that's not come on. What about Rutgers versus USC? I think Rutgers covers tonight. Um, I could see Rutgers. I think Rutgers might pull the upset. I got two upsets tonight. I got UNLV and Rutgers. USC just really bad. They're playing so bad. And you have two different head coaches there. You have a X's and O's head coach in Greg Schiano going up against a coach who is the opposite of X's and O's in Lincoln Riley. So Oklahoma's my upset pick. I like that. I could see it. Wisconsin could beat Penn State. I think Penn State is overrated. So yeah, but I don't know. That's at Penn State, isn't it? I don't know. Give me Navy, though. I'm just hoping. I watch Navy every weekend. I watch Army every weekend. I hope those boys win. Represent America. FSU is cursed. You know, maybe tomorrow things are going to change. I hate Miami. Miami is just one of those teams I irrationally hate. One of my most hated teams. I think Miami's just so overrated. So overrated. FSU over Miami would bring me so much joy. Watching a truly terrible team beat an overrated one. I agree. Miami, the whole talk about Miami being the mix for the college football playoff, disgusting. I think they suck. I really do. I think Cam Ward's overrated. I think Damian Martinez is overrated. I think A.J. Allen, past Nebraska running back's overrated. I think their head coach is overrated. Give me Florida State. Given the way Florida State acted last year during the playoffs, they don't deserve to win any games this year. Hey, man, Florida State got screwed. Last year. That's just the truth behind the matter. If that happened in Nebraska, if Nebraska went 13-0, but Dylan Raiola got injured and they left us out of the playoff, Nebraska fans would try to absolutely throw over the establishment. We would be so mad. So we can't get mad at Florida State fans doing the exact same thing. That's why I wanted to know if your mind was made up on the feelings about seniors. Yeah, again, if the seniors can flip the narrative, man, I feel a lot better about them going forward. Miami gets bailed every game. Yeah, dude, it's egregious. It is egregious. Absolutely egregious. All right, guys. I don't want to hold you guys here too much longer. Only wanted to go for about an hour tonight. Give Ash and Genie the Heisman already. Put your last comments in the comment section. I'll get to the remaining ones. Your final thoughts about college football tomorrow, Nebraska tomorrow, what we're expecting. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new here. Reminder, I will be going live after the game. So set your notifications so you know when I upload or when I go live. Just be here after the game. We're going to be talking about win-loss. If we win, you're going to want to be here. Oh, my goodness. But you're also going to want to be here if we lose because both of them will be entertaining just in different ways, as you can imagine. All right, put your last comments in here. I'll get to your final ones, and then we will head out. The game is not that different from the 90s, 80s, et cetera, et cetera. It's completely different. Burnt World. It's just the way. It's completely different. Like, schematics on offense and defense are completely different. The athletes are completely different. Like, back in the day, it was special to see a player run a 4.4. Now that's the expectation, that a wide receiver runs the 4.4. So players are more naturally gifted because they start playing football at a younger age. Steroids aren't in football anymore, right? So schematics is completely different. The talent is completely different. The recruiting sphere is completely different. Recruiting is nothing like it was in the 90s. Everything about recruiting is different. So it's a different game. It really is. It's still football, but it's a different game. That makes sense. Penn State travels to Madison. Okay, maybe I could see that then. Maybe I could see that. Who will start on the O-line next year? I don't even want to. It's going to look bleak, man. We're going to get some transfers in there. So there are some guys who are going to start who are not even on the roster yet. Have a good weekend, young man. Appreciate you, my man. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Go Big Red, go Big Red. Jake says Nebraska pulls out the upset. I hope so, Jake. I hope so. You guys are going to want to be here if we pull the upset. Absolutely. All right. Looks like that's everything in the comment section. I appreciate you guys as always. Make sure to be here tomorrow after the game. Have a good one tomorrow, guys. Hopefully Nebraska gets the victory. If we lose, take it with a grain of salt. Don't let it ruin your day. Enjoy the rest of the college football slate. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. But be here after the game because we'll be talking about everything. All right, guys. Appreciate you as always. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Go Big Red. Go Matt Rhule. And see you in the next one.